The smoke rose from the mountain peak like a warning flag. Every creature on the planet Draken 7 knew what lived inside that volcanic crater. The fire dragons had ruled this world for 10,000 years. They burned cities. They melted armies. They turned brave warriors into ash and memory. No species in the entire galaxy had ever successfully stolen from a fire dragon nest. The eggs were worth more than entire planets. Each one contained enough genetic material to create biological weapons, healing compounds, and energy sources that could power starships for centuries. Marcus Chun stood at the base of the mountain and smiled. He was not a soldier. He was not a warrior. He was a thief from Earth, and humans had been stealing impossible things since they first learned to walk upright. His species had stolen fire from nature itself. They had stolen the secrets of atoms and stars. They had stolen their way across the galaxy, taking technology and knowledge from every species they encountered. Now Marcus planned to steal 12 fire dragon eggs, and he planned to do it alone. The Galactic Council had sent 17 expeditions to this mountain. The Zorvian Empire had lost 300 of their best soldiers. The Mechanoid Collective had sacrificed 200 combat units. The Ethereal Minds had tried to use their psychic powers to control the dragons. All of them had failed. All of them had died screaming as fire consumed their bodies. Marcus checked his equipment one more time. He carried no weapons. He wore no armor. His bag contained only simple tools that any species would consider primitive. Rope, hooks, glass containers, and a small device that looked like a music player from ancient Earth. The other species laughed at humans and their simple tools. They did not understand that simplicity was the greatest weapon in the universe. The climb took 6 hours. Marcus moved slowly and carefully, testing each rock before he put his weight on it. The mountain was hot, and the air smelled like burning metal. Sweat poured down his face, but he kept climbing. His muscles burned, but he kept climbing. Twice he almost fell, but he caught himself and kept climbing. This was what made humans dangerous. They did not stop. They did not give up. They kept moving forward until they succeeded or died. The crater rim appeared as the sun began to set. Marcus pulled himself over the edge and looked down into the nest of the fire dragons. His heart nearly stopped. The mother dragon was enormous. Her body was longer than a starship, and her scales glowed like molten lava. Wings the size of buildings were folded against her sides. Her eyes were closed, and smoke poured from her nostrils with each breath. Around her lay 12 eggs, each one as tall as Marcus himself. They pulsed with inner light, red and orange and yellow, like captured suns waiting to be born. The father dragon was not in the nest. Marcus had spent 3 months watching this mountain, learning the patterns of the dragons. Every evening, the male flew away to hunt. He would not return until morning. The female would sleep through the night, warming her eggs with her body heat. This was the window. This was the moment that 17 expeditions had missed. Marcus did not rush. Rushing was for amateurs. He sat on the crater rim and ate a small meal of dried protein and water. He stretched his muscles and calmed his breathing. He watched the mother dragon sleep and counted her breaths. 42 breaths per minute. Each breath lasted exactly 3 seconds. Between breaths, there was a moment of perfect silence. The descent into the crater was the most dangerous part. One loose rock, one small sound, and the mother dragon would wake. Marcus moved like a shadow, like a whisper, like a memory of movement rather than movement itself. His ancestors had hunted lions in the grasslands of Africa. They had tracked deer through silent forests. They had learned to move without making sound, and that knowledge lived in his blood. The heat increased as he descended. The air became thick and hard to breathe. Normal humans would have collapsed from heat exhaustion. Marcus had spent 6 months training in volcanic environments. He had modified his body with simple biological enhancements that allowed him to survive temperatures that would kill other humans. He was not stronger than other species. He was not faster. He was simply more prepared. The first egg was the hardest. Marcus approached it slowly, watching the mother dragon with every step. Her massive eye was 3 meters away from him, closed but still terrifying. If she opened that eye, he would die in less than a second. But she did not open it. Dragons did not fear thieves. No thief had ever succeeded. Marcus pulled out his glass containers and began the extraction process. He did not try to take the whole egg. That was the mistake every other expedition had made. They wanted the complete prize. They wanted the glory. Marcus only wanted the genetic material inside. His needles were thin and precise, designed to pierce dragon shell without cracking it. He extracted exactly 100 milliliters from each egg, enough to satisfy his buyers while leaving the eggs viable. The mother dragon shifted in her sleep. Marcus froze completely, becoming a statue of flesh and bone. 3 minutes passed, then 5, then 7. Finally, the dragon settled back into deep sleep, and Marcus resumed his work. 8 eggs completed. 4 remaining. Time was running out. The sky was beginning to lighten in the east, and the father dragon would return with the sunrise. Marcus moved faster now, but still carefully. Speed without caution was suicide. The 9th egg cracked. The sound was tiny, barely audible, but in the silent crater, it might as well have been an explosion. The mother dragon's eye opened. Yellow fire filled that eye, ancient and terrible and absolutely deadly. Her mouth began to open, and Marcus could see the flames building in her throat. This was the moment that killed every other thief. This was the moment of panic, of running, of dying. Marcus did not run. Instead, he pulled out his small device and pressed a button. Music filled the crater. It was a simple melody, created by humans thousands of years ago. A lullaby. A song that mothers sang to their children to help them sleep. But this lullaby had been modified. Scientists on Earth had studied dragon brain patterns for decades. They had discovered that dragons responded to certain frequencies, certain patterns of sound that triggered their sleep responses. The mother dragon's eye began to close. The flames in her throat faded. Her massive body relaxed, and she fell back into sleep, deeper than before. The lullaby continued playing, and Marcus continued working. 11 eggs. 12 eggs. All samples collected. Marcus climbed out of the crater as the first rays of sunlight touched the mountain. He heard the father dragon roaring in the distance, returning from his hunt. But Marcus was already gone, sliding down the mountain at dangerous speed, risking broken bones to gain precious minutes. The Zorvians had used force. The mechanoids had used technology. The ethereals had used psychic power. All of them had failed because they thought like warriors. Marcus succeeded because he thought like a human. He studied his enemy. He found their weakness. He used simple tools in clever ways. He did not fight the dragons. He worked around them. 3 days later, Marcus sat in a bar on the trading station Nexus 9. His samples had been sold to 12 different buyers for enough credits to buy a small moon. Representatives from a dozen species surrounded him, demanding to know his secrets. How did a single human succeed where armies had failed? How did he survive the fire dragons? What advanced technology had he used? Marcus laughed and finished his drink. He told them the truth, but they did not believe him. He told them about patience and observation. He told them about the lullaby and the careful extraction. He told them that humans were not special because they were strong or fast or powerful. Humans were special because they were stubborn, creative, and completely unwilling to accept that something was impossible. The Zorvian commander slammed his fist on the table. Impossible, he declared. No species could defeat a fire dragon without weapons. Marcus must have had help. He must have used Forbidden's technology. He must have cheated somehow. Marcus stood up and stretched. He looked at the aliens surrounding him, at their weapons and their armor, and their advanced technology. They had everything, and yet they had failed. He had nothing but his human brain and his human hands, and he had succeeded. The Zorvian would never understand. None of them would. They saw humans as weak, as primitive, as lucky survivors in a dangerous galaxy. They did not see what humans really were. Humans were the species that invented fire and used it to conquer a planet. Humans were the species that looked at the moon and decided to walk on it. Humans were the species that faced extinction 100 times and survived every single time. Dragons were old. Dragons were powerful. Dragons had ruled their world for 10,000 years. But humans had something that dragons did not have. Humans had the ability to look at an impossible problem and find a solution that no one else had ever imagined. Marcus walked out of the bar and disappeared into the crowded station. Behind him, the aliens argued about his methods, trying to understand how he had done the impossible. They would study the fire dragons. They would build new weapons and new armor. They would send more expeditions, and more expeditions would fail. Because the secret was not in the tools. The secret was not in the technology. The secret was in the human mind, that strange organ that had evolved on a small blue planet at the edge of the galaxy. That mind could imagine things that did not exist. That mind could solve problems that had no solutions. That mind could look at a fire-breathing dragon and see not a monster, but a puzzle waiting to be solved. Somewhere in the galaxy, 12 dragon eggs continued to grow, unaware that their genetic secrets had been stolen. The mother dragon slept peacefully, never knowing that a human had walked among her children. The father dragon hunted and killed, never knowing that his species had been defeated by a single unarmed thief. And Marcus Chen, human, earthborn, descendant of hunters and thieves and survivors, smiled as he planned his next impossible heist. The galaxy was full of treasures that no one believed could be stolen. The galaxy was full of challenges that no one believed could be overcome. For any other species, these would be reasons to give up. For a human, they were invitations.